And I'm back. So, the annual investors meeting for Nintendo went down, and there's actually a whole bunch of news that came down from them recently. They're announcing a remake for a new game. They beat a lawsuit against Bowser, and they will explore the plans for the future of Nintendo in general that they laid out. So, let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so, remember the theme of yesterday? We don't know shit about fuck? Well, guess what? Did you guys watch the game? Turns out, we don't know shit about fuck. Eric was mad. He was mad. You were mad. That was his number one pick, the Ravens beating the Dolphins, and it's hysterical because he lost 3 points. Lost 3 points, which means that I may catch up to first place in our little league. You know what? Maybe next week I'll explain how our league works. But anyway, let's get into this. Well, before we get into this whole Nintendo thing, let me first give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. 10 a.m.-ish today. I had a test that I needed to take, so whoops. Anyway, so yeah, you can find me there live, and yeah, it's the easiest way for you to contact me. Or if you want to send something to me privately, you can do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at Dario SDW. By the way, a quick little note here, you guys might be able to help me out. I'm freelancing as a translator and subtitler. I'm doing subtitles for basic videos and stuff. If you know anybody who needs any help with that, just feel free to reach out. Again, you know my contacts are right there. So I've been doing that. It's actually interesting work, fun, and it's something that I can do easily because I have the skills for it. So there you go. Anyway, so let's get into this whole Nintendo business, and it all comes down from well, we're gonna break it down because there's a few interesting pieces of news there, and so the first one would be the major news of the of Nintendo being worth a buttload of money. And I mean a buttload of money. So it all comes down because of one little, what's it there? All right, the Nintendo Switch. So the Nintendo Switch has performed way better, and I mean way better than anybody ever expected. So it's not just the sales of the console, it's the online things that they're doing. So they're using a members thing. So Nintendo Switch Online is doing a members thing. Now you have you can get the 364, you can play 364, I'm sorry, not 364, you can play Nintendo 64 games there, you can play old school SNES games over there. And so they've been making a lot of money, and they have now like 32 million subscribers that are regularly paying to be part of the service. And so let's just say it's a bigger cash cow than they expected. And it's they've sold what then? Well, let's see. Nintendo accounts hit 250 million. Switch Online hits 32 million. It's just a buttload of money on top of them selling like crazy the consoles. I mean, they were sold out for years. It was very difficult to get a Nintendo Switch. I remember me and my kid brother, we had to camp out, and we were lucky to get a Gen 1. Now there's how many generations are there? Let's see. There's the newer one supposed to be better, and they still haven't fixed the whole Joy-Con thing or the battery thing. Well, it has a better, longer battery. Then there's the one that you can't take off the Joy-Cons. I think there's like 4 generations, maybe. And so, supposedly, the numbers they're giving here, the Switch is closing in on 93 million units sold. 93 million. Now, let's just say roughly, let's say $200 per each one. That's a buttload of money. And they've sold over 681 million games. Now, it doesn't tell you if this is, also downloaded games, which are generally cheaper, but still, it's a buttload of money. So they've been making moves, man. They've been making a lot of money with the Nintendo Switch that apparently they did not see coming. I don't know why, because the first time I saw the Nintendo Switch, I thought it was a great idea. But all right, so again, they're just raking in the money. And on top of that, they also just settled a lawsuit against Bowser and just won like $4.5 million straight. And I'm not kidding you. That's the headline here is Bowser pleads guilty to his crimes, will pay Nintendo $4.5 million. What does that actually mean? It's not the actual character Bowser. It's funny because it's that Mario's nemesis has always been Bowser. That's his biggest arch rival. He's always trying to steal his girlfriend or whatever. But Yeah, there's a guy who apparently, well, I'll just read you the whole article. So, after decades of terrorizing the Mushroom Kingdom, Bowser is pleading guilty to his crimes against Nintendo. Or rather, a man named Gary Bowser, who participated in a hacking enterprise to unlock Nintendo Switch systems, is pleading guilty to his crimes. As part of his plea deal, Bowser agrees to pay Nintendo $4.5 million, and he is still facing potentially multiple years of imprisonment. The plea agreement outlined in the court filing in Nintendo's own Western District Court of Washington, obtained by Torrent Freak, states that Bowser was a member of a cybercriminals enterprise that created, sold, and distributed circumvention devices capable of allowing game consoles to play ROMs, thereby inflicting monetary harm on the game's developers and publishers who sold the legal versions of these games. In addition to the criminal charges, Bowser is also sued by Nintendo. The group developed hacks for a variety of game systems, including Nintendo Switch, as well as the 3DS, dating back all the way to 2013 and running until August 19, 2020. The enterprise generated at least tens of millions of dollars of proceeds from the sale of its circumvention devices. The filing reads, it estimates losses for those affected to be somewhere between $65 million and $150 million. Bowser says he only got between $500 and $1,000 a month to participate, but additionally, advertising revenue brought his own total gains to about $320,000. Mr. Bowser understood that his participation. Well, no, you already get the point. Point is, you know how you can sometimes jailbreak a phone and jailbreak a Switch or whatever. That's basically what the dude did, so you can play quote unquote illegal games or mod games and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, you do the crime, you do the time, I guess. And so it's just the only thing that's actually funny here is that the dude's name is Bowser. It's like the irony. It's fantastic. And, Nintendo making more money. So $4.5 million they're going to get from that. And so this all leads us to, to the plans of the future of Nintendo. So first off, they've confirmed that they plan to launch a new console before 2100 at least, because they showed their plans, their estimates, and they have a plan here for a new console, and basically it says 20 ? So we don't know when in the 2000s it's going to come out, but we know it's before 2100, so that's something at least. I talked about this before when the PS5 was coming out and when the new Xbox was was getting ready to launch, the Sexbox. Nintendo doesn't really need to do much. It needs to fix the Switch. The Switch is fantastic technology. It just, the Joy-Cons suck. The battery's not that great. They need to fix stuff within the Switch, and it would be, perfect. It'd be great. And they don't really need to do much other than that. They got a thing going. They have a corner of they have the market cornered in that arena now. When the Steam Deck comes out, maybe it'll be a bit more competition for them. But for the moment, they're doing good. They're not competing to be like, oh, this is the most realistic looking game. Like, no, we can just it's a game that's fun and you can play on the go. It's a console quality game. You can play it on the go. So if they just continue in that particular arena, they should be fine. So I don't see them being in any particular rush to changing to moving on to the next generation. I think they're just gonna keep working on the Switch, make it a little bit better, and then they might release something new. Though I don't know. So they released how they're planning on spending their money for the future. And so this is in an investor meeting, Nintendo outlined how it would spend 450 billion yen. That is 3.95 billion US dollars. So again, they're planning on spending almost $4 billion in the years ahead as part of its cash utilization strategy. This includes up to 875 million on game development, up to 440 million on non-gaming projects like movies, and up to 2.6 billion on maintaining and expanding relationships with the consumers through new infrastructure projects. This is in addition to Nintendo's usual investments in the areas of research and development and general capital expenditure. Nintendo did not provide a timeline for when it plans to spend this cash in these respective areas. I'm sorry. So again, this is They're talking about almost $4 billion. They're doing in addition to the regular R&D stuff. Now Nintendo has a buttload of money, too much money. Like they could lose billions a year and they would still be able to operate for over 100 years. They're fine. They're fine in that arena. But what does this mean? Like let's see how it breaks down. So it's 879 million on game development, which doesn't seem that much. But let's say you invest $1 million per game. That's 879 million games that you could create. That's $1 million of worth. Okay, and it depends if they're good. Like certain games will cost way more money. Like the Legend of Zelda games will cost way more money, and so I don't. It sounds like a lot. I guess it depends on the quality of the games. Honestly, it always depends on the quality. Like one game could be worth $100 million. It costs like the GTA games are like $100 million the game to make. So you could make 8 GTAs, I guess. Then the 440 million on non-gaming projects like movies. That one's interesting because 440 million is, again, it sounds like a lot of money, but movies are expensive to make. And let's say a blockbuster movie, it's usually around the 100 million to make alone. They have the rights for everything, so maybe that's a bit better, but that's like what, 4 movie projects? It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, I guess. Maybe they have a few advantages that other companies don't have, and maybe it'll be like a partnership. Let's say Nintendo teams up with, I don't know, Universal, and so Universal foots half of the bill or whatever, and Nintendo grants them the rights or stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe they're creating their own entertainment studio, which I would not be surprised. I mean, they just follow the Disney route in that particular arena, but in reverse, I guess. And the 2.6 billion on maintaining and expanding relationships with customers through new infrastructure projects. What does this mean? Are they going to fix the Nintendo 64 games that you can play online? Are they going to update it's basically updating their infrastructure for new and better technologies that they're working on? I have no idea. But again, it shows that Nintendo's a really weird, shady company, and it's really annoying because they tend to fuck up the dumbest things. And you're like, man, this could be very easily fixed, and they have the money for it, but they're not doing it. So I'm not exactly sure, even if it's a good thing. But because maintaining and expanding relationships could be bribes. It could be anything. So who the hell knows? But again, it shows that at least it's a company that's invested in its own future. Then it's weird because we know where their money's going to go, and maybe we'll be able to see it. I don't know. I just found it interesting. It's like, man, that's a lot of money. And how the hell did where'd it come from and all that stuff? But it's interesting stuff. Also, final rumor that we've been hearing from Nintendo, and this one I particularly care about, is that, and I'll just read you the headline, Metroid Prime Switch re-release is in development. Now, I've talked about this game a lot recently. And I mean a lot. Like, I did a best games for the GameCube list, and recently, what did I talk about recently that I also talked about Metroid Prime? I don't even remember. The best sci-fi video games. Yeah. So I've been talking about this game quite a lot. That's the Metroid Prime, the GameCube version game, which is the first time where Samus actually goes 3D. It's always, the game had always been 2D. This is the first time it actually goes 3D. And I've talked about this game as like a masterpiece. It's fantastic. I loved it. I loved every single second of playing that game. And it sounds like maybe they are working on actually doing a re-release for the Switch, which in part is like, this is epic, this is awesome, but also it's like, fuck you, Nintendo, why are you making me spend more money on the same game that I already played? Now, I'm one of those suckers who likes remasters and stuff like that. You know, I just am. Like, it's embarrassing how many times I've bought certain games just because I love them, and some of them I haven't even played yet, but I like it because it's, you know, I could just play it in the new version. I can play the new console. It'll run smoother. It'll look better. So I'm excited about it. It's just one of those things like, damn it, fucking Nintendo, why don't you make a new game? Or maybe it could be, it's possible that they're priming the new generation for a new Metroid Prime game, but still, I don't understand it. Just make a new game, you know? You had the formula. 3D Samus first person shooter in 3D. Just do that. Stop doing 2D. Well, I mean, you can do. Well, what? Fuck off. 2D games are better. Eric's a dumbass. Anyway, so there you go. That's the big interesting things from Nintendo. Who knows what the hell they're gonna be doing? Who knows if they're actually gonna get their shit together? Because again, it's a weird company because mostly they do a lot of things right, but they just fuck up the little things, and it's very annoying. So, that's a good place to stop. So, as always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch at 10 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you want to join me, be a part of the chat or whatever. If you want to send me something privately, you can do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at Dario SDW. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.